So this painting, this portrait, is part of a larger installation that I've been working on for about 7 years. It's entitled "Who Told You That You Were Naked?" and it deals with issues of looking and being looked at and what it's like to live in a surveillance culture and what's the impact on our humanity and on our human agency. And so the installation is 80 paintings to be shown in 2 sites simultaneously with streaming video between each site. Some of the paintings, about 25% of them, will have either an embedded camera or a monitor where the art is looking back at you. And it is really to put the viewer in an environment of being surveyed while they're surveying the paintings. I created these portraits on circles. The others, there are 40 portraits and 40 figures, nude figures, blocking their identity. And everything's painted on the grid, you know, being on the grid. But the grid has become something else to me. It has become the way that humans are reduced to measurement or some kind of label. And so when I was creating the painting, I had 40 folks model, and as I said, there are 40 figures, and they're on vertical rectangles. So the circles and the vertical rectangles reference zeros and ones of binary. And each of the paintings has a binary title. And so when I was asking the models to pose for me, specifically for the portraits, I would lead them through a number of scenarios that involved looking and being looked at. You're looking across the bar and you see someone you're attracted to and you're staring back at them and you want to attract them. Or you just found out that someone is peeping in your window. What are you going to look like? And look at the camera. Or you're sitting at the edge of a bed and with someone that's dying and you're looking straight at them and you want to communicate. And so a lot of these portraits, many of which have shown here over the years, are a result of kind of selecting one of those views and painting a portrait of it. And the painting's on canvas, which is glued to the board, and it's in oil, so it's kind of the basics. I'll answer any questions if you have any.
Is that a Genesis reference? Who told you that you were naked?
Yeah, it is a Genesis reference because that question that God poses to Adam and Eve when they hide from him is kind of a consciousness raising. And that same consciousness raising, I thought, came when Ed Snowden kind of revealed to all of us that we were naked because all of our data was being collected by the government. And now all of our data is being collected by government, and Google, and Facebook, and I don't know if anybody's got a Fitbit or a Roomba or whatever. All of that is going to some place where someone's using it to help us make choices.
Is the circle a lens?
Oh, that could be. I always love when people go, yes, I love it.
It
Yeah.
is very photographic.
Yeah.
Very photographic. How did you capture that?
Well, I did photograph each of the models, 200 photographs for each model, both their figure and then it's a process of selecting the one that's going to really have the impact.
There is a sense of, whenever I see these from you, that there is as much a desire to not be seen as to be seen. And I like it. I like that kind of thing because we're all kind of contradictory in that way, in the place of wanting to be seen, but oh no, you can't see me over here. That marks us off sometimes as maybe being hypocrites, but at the same time, though, it's kind of understandable because we have our inner and outer selves, and I see her exuding the inner and the outer at the exact same time. You know, when I see that kind of thing, that's just my impression.
Well, thank you for bringing it up because one of the underlying currents in all the work that I do is this notion of vulnerability. And the other flip side of vulnerability, I hope, is compassion. And unless we are vulnerable, unless we're able to listen, unless we're able to see each other with our hearts, our extinction is imminent. Used to say that it was the survival of the fittest that evolved, but recently I've heard the term the survival of the friendliest will evolve.
just going to make a matrix connection with the grid and the binary and manipulation and the constant surveillance.
That's a pretty good connection, yeah.
That's a good one.
So, namaste, thank you.
Thank you.